Ripple is the company to be paying attention to. I believe that the United States will be looking at this as a swift dollar way of transacting and doing a lot of different things. Okay. So XRP is the ticker on that for people that are interested.
Well, okay, we're going to have to leave it there because there are questions about XRP, especially if you compare it to, say, Bitcoin. But
No, quantum computing is just like the boogeyman people throw out there. It doesn't take quantum computing to hack Google or to hack Facebook or to hack Twitter. Twitter got hacked last year without a quantum computer, right? But no one's selling their Facebook, Amazon, Apple, or Google stock. Apple's network got hacked. No one sold their Apple stock. If someone did have a quantum computer, 99.9% of the stuff in the world is attackable by Dr. Evil.
Through the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk has been working very hard with various people, including Vivek. Will going to eliminate hundreds of billions of dollars of waste and fraud. And I can only tell you, I'll give you a little early report, they're finding things that you wouldn't even believe. So we're looking to save maybe $2 trillion. And it'll have no impact. Actually, it'll make life better, but it'll have no impact on people. It's not like we will never cut Social Security, things like that. It's just waste, fraud, and abuse.
What on earth do you think you're doing? It's we're looking at a U.S. economy that, this morning's jobs report was really good. Everything is kind of coming up roses. It's soft landing everywhere, and yet he's preparing, or claims he's preparing, to go on this trade war against everybody. And the question really is why? What is it? Why do you want to do something so disruptive when you're inheriting an economy that is really looking pretty good?
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come.
This is King, and I told you that Elon was mapping out the plan. Trump is in office in 9 days. The games begin. Trump had 4 years to land us in a digital economy where AI, robots, and drones take over the economy, where I will be king in 2029.
And you heard the king. And we do have those videos coming where you can get paid for playing games. Now we have this guy has been promoting XRP heavily, called XRP the Swift Dollar. Yes, you heard that correct. And we have Michael Saylor calling quantum computing the boogeyman. But we know quantum computing is real. You won't be able to trust the eyes or the ears. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Now we have Trump coming in, and we know Doge is ready to make those cuts. But then also Trump says interest rates are too high. But guys, we know in reality, we're not even supposed to have interest rates. It's all usury. Only thing you have to do is go to the good book. Only the sheep pay interest. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. But the mainstream media will have you believe the economy is doing great. And we know the sheep, as long as that 401k is looking good and they have a job, they think the economy is doing great. But guys, all this has been manipulated by the central banks. Once they start shrinking this liquidity, and we have all the countries around the globe are going to start shrinking liquidity. Remember, these main central banks work in lockstep because it's time to build that fourth industrial revolution. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Jim Cramer on the jobs report, which we know is going to be revised down. But then also, guys, we know it's a whole lot of holiday hiring in there. We know that hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are hired during the holidays and then get laid off after that first quarter. And when that does happen, we know then that allow the Fed to start cutting rates. But right now, they're going to pause. And we know by pausing, they're keeping interest rates higher for longer to destroy this legacy market so the fourth industrial revolution can rise. Whether robots, algorithms, and drones take the economy over, pay each other with crypto, and the sheet go inside the metaverse. And we all know politicians are nothing but paid puppets, but we had Biden said, tell the truth. The man who has been caught lying so many times. Yes, guys, you heard that correct. Remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
I heard the idea that stocks could actually go down in response to great job growth. I thought it was absurd. Who hopes for weak job growth? Who hopes for higher unemployment? The answer? People who own stocks, that's who. At least when they're worried about interest rates. And that's how you get a day like today where the labor report showed we created way more jobs than expected in December. And then for the market roll over. Dow tumbling 697 points, S&P plunging 1.5%, NASDAQ plummeting 1.63%. Now, there are two sides to the story. Given that I was worried about a hard landing and recession just 6 months ago, when I saw strong job growth, you know what? I was grateful. But we're in a moment where my gratitude means nothing. The majority of investors were looking for slower job growth, lower long-term interest rates, and some rate cuts from the Fed. For them, the disappointment was palpable. So the stocks, they sold them hand over fist, as you can see. Now, this isn't unusual. Always remember that the bond market's a lot bigger than the stock market, and the bond market gods are more powerful. So when rates go up, stocks tend to go down, and that's what happened today. The stock market won't improve until interest rates go down. We might get some better stocks, but not a better stock market, which is why so many investors are rooting for a weaker economy. Makes the Fed look better, makes you feel better that rates aren't going to be such big competition to stocks, which they're getting to be.
So markets go down in your view, Peter. I mean, that's the bottom line. And is the bar for a Fed rate hike much lower in your view, or is that still off the table?
I don't think that's not where the Fed's head is. And I look at the payroll number today, and it just doesn't square with anything else I'm seeing. To me, job growth is probably more around the 150 level, because while we celebrated the 256, which does include about 30,000 plus of government, ADP on Wednesday said private sector was just 122. I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle, and it's probably about 150. And that's a slowing rate of job growth relative to 2023. So I don't think the Fed's head is there. Now, of course, the inflation data next week is going to be big. If there's one thing that can sort of take the heat off interest rates, it could be a benign CPI number, which I think the services component can deliver that. But there's also more that's going on here. It's the global rise in interest rates. I mean, you essentially have the global bond police that's driving through all the different neighborhoods around the world and calling out governments that have excessive debts and deficits, and wondering whether they're going to be able to sell that at the price these borrowers want to sell at, whether it's Japan, whether it's the UK, France, and it's now becoming wider spread. It's rolling into Germany, which is economies in a recession and with higher interest rates, and Australia and Canada. And also one last thing with rates that's not really being discussed around markets is the Bank of Japan is probably going to raise rates this month, and they continue to reduce the pace of their QE. Through the first quarter of 2026, they will have cut QE in half. That is a major liquidity spigot that's being turned off that I think is behind the scenes impacting global interest rates, just as it did last summer when they eliminated yield curve control and the U.S. 10-year yield within days started its ascent to 5%.
Well, I think what we're going to find is that people that are banking on rate cuts are going to be sorely disappointed. And I think that it's basically going to be pushed out. If we get one this year, it gets pushed to the back of the year. But our view on it is this. We had a pause at 550 for a full year. The world did not come to an end. We'll probably have a pause at 450 for it could be up to a year. And the world's probably not going to come to an end. So we think in this market there's an overreaction right now. And I think that we basically spent – since 71, you've spent half your life with a Fed funds rate over 4%. And the economy's done fine. The markets have done fine. 23, 24 were good, and we were paused at 550. So pausing at 450.
Of an elongated pause, and the Fed will need some sort of drastic data print to push us off that. So you either need to see something happen on the inflation side to get us back into the hiking cycle, or potentially we'll need to see several prints of weakness in order to see cuts that might materialize. Right now, I think markets are expecting cuts either in the summer or potentially in the early fall in the September meeting. But for right now, it feels like we're in an elongated pause.
Well, of course, telling the truth matters. I mean, I know I'm on national television, but you all are local reporters and national reporters. I'm not. This is not a legit, real question, but what do you think? You think it doesn't matter that they let be printed, where millions of people read it, things that are simply not true? I mean, I don't know what that's all about. It's just completely contrary to everything America's about. We want to tell the truth. We haven't always done it as a nation, but we want to tell the truth. And the idea that a billionaire can buy something and say, by the way, from this point on, we're not gonna fact check anything. And when you have millions of people going online, reading this stuff, it is, anyway, I think it's really shameful.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go, but clearly we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told told his members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction; it was absolutely lousy. And you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence.
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate. Not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Tam save New York from COVID stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.